This car is one of the best ones out there, and there are many different things that make it so awesome. So just stick around to find out everything that you need to know about the Audi A5. And the first reason is that this car looks amazing. And none of the generations look old. I mean, the first generation was made from 2007 to 2016, so the second generation started production in 2016 and is still being built in 2023. So the A5 platform is nearly 16 years old. With each generation you get 3 different models, and all of them were facelifted. First there were the coupes, then the convertibles, and then the sportbacks. And I'll just show you all the models right here, cause why not? Okay, so this is the AT generation. It's the first one and they look pretty good. They of course are the cheapest one because they are the oldest one. So this now is just a facelift. They only got pretty small changes, but I mean they had new rear and front lights, and the controls to move the seat to get into the rear were electric. Then the second generation came, which was nicknamed F5, and it looks completely different already. Most of the curves are gone, it's just a lot of very sharp and modern edges. The last one was a facelift again, and this time too there were new lights that looked way better and a new front grille design. The next reason to get an A5 is the practicality, because for coupes it's just great, especially with trunk space. You get about 450 liters or 830 if you fold down the rear seats, which is just a little bit less than the A4 sedan. And it's just more than with the BMW 4 Series or the Mercedes C-Class coupe. In the Sportback you even get about 500 liters normally, and then close to 1000 liters as you fold down the seats. You get a lot of cup holders and a very comfortable interior, but it has one major flaw. The rear seats don't offer too much space. So people that are about 180 centimeters or 6 foot tall might complain a bit. Legroom should be fine, but the headroom might be the problem. And now we are getting to the engines. The A5 is actually one of the most reliable German cars out there. The reason for that is probably that it's based on the A4, which is like the typical Audi daily driver. All of the engines are pretty efficient and they also have enough power to get you around easily. But you also get a lot of different options. You get inline 4s, V6s or V8s, but the V6s are the most reliable ones. Let's talk about the petrol engines first. You can just pause to look at more details if you want to, because I keep this pretty short. You get 1.8 liter turbocharged inline 4s that make about 220 horsepower, then there are the 3.2 liter V6s with about 220 horsepower and the 4.2 liter V8s with 400 horsepower. But you should be aware that these engines can sometimes suffer from timing chain issues. And now to the diesel engines. They all are turbocharged and they start at the 2 liter inline 4s with about 150 horsepower. Then there are the 2.7 liter V6s with 200 horsepower. And then the 3 liter V6 with 240 horsepower. Only the 3.0 has Quattro all-wheel drive as standard. The common issue with the diesel engines are the throttle bodies, but apart from that they are bulletproof. Quattro all-wheel drive is optional for every car, and some of the 4 cylinders suffer from extensive oil consumption. So I would personally recommend a V6. For the transmissions you get 3 different options. First of all, the 6-speed manual, which is pretty solid. You shouldn't have any issues with that at all. Then there's the S-Tronic. It's a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which is pretty good in reliability too, and it's just a very fast automatic transmission. And the third one is the Multitronic. It's super complicated and doesn't really have any gears. It's cool when it works, but very expensive to repair if it breaks. And that's not too uncommon. So they are a little bit unreliable overall. Let's now get to some general problems of this car. If you're unlucky, you might have some problems with the electrics and the infotainment system. Also, if you live in a very cold country, your windows can freeze and then you just can't access your car anymore. Another thing might be visibility. There's no rear window wiper. Somehow the aerodynamics should take care of it, but I don't know how that is going in standstill. Also, you have a giant C-pillar, but you should get used to it. So the visibility still isn't bad or something. Also, the car is a 4-seater, so you only have 2 seat belts in the rear, so you aren't allowed to take a 5th person in the rear middle seat. The interior in an Audi A5 is great. You get nice materials, good quality, and everything is angled towards the driver. So like gauges, navigation, stuff like that. And this gets you a great driving experience. You also get leather seats, and with the S-Line package, you get a flat bottom steering wheel and the Alcantara and leather seat combination. You also have the optional Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is absolutely fantastic. And as I mentioned before, a lot of cup holders. Also a good amount of storage spread in the car, and you can easily mount a child seat in the rear. And because it's a coupe, you need to pull the front seat forwards to get into the back. But of course with the 4-door Sportback, you don't need to do this. because I personally love this car and want to buy one for myself in the next few years as my first car, I'd recommend some options to you. Before you go crazy on me wanting to buy this car at like 18 or 19, in Germany insurance isn't that high. Apart from that, I'm taking driving lessons and I'm pretty good, and I've been doing sim racing since I was like 4. I would pick an A5 coupe with the 3-liter TDI. It's the most reliable engine and it has a lot of power and is also pretty efficient. Then the 6-speed manual and the S-Line package, as well as the Bang & Olufsen sound system. I'd search for a car with about 200,000 kilometers or about 120,000 miles. Yes, these engines even last a lot longer. And a car like that is easily findable for about 5 to 7k in Germany. They're also available for that price range in the US, but with less extras. Generally for a first gen car you can expect to pay about 4 to 20k, and for a second gen car about 30 to 70k. I hope you found this video interesting and maybe I helped you with your buying decisions. So thank you guys for watching and maybe I'll see you in another video.